So we're live, right? As golden hour is setting in. There's a nice little golden light reflecting on me from the window here. And I've decided today with my business coach, I asked her to help hold me accountable to my goals. One of those being showing up regularly, sharing from my journey. And I thought that, hello, whoever is here, that sharing live on YouTube is actually the best platform for me to get my message out there in a way that feels really organic and authentic and allowing of my expression because people don't really like to watch long videos on Instagram. And as much as I try to be concise and clear in the message that I'm sharing, a lot of it just wants to come through organically as kind of like a conversation. So this is first and foremost for myself, to allow myself to be in this authentic expression and sharing little updates and celebrations and how I'm overcoming challenges along my journey as both an entrepreneur and a spiritual teacher, right? Because if you're on the spiritual path, it is a devotion to a lifelong path of growth, right? It doesn't ever stop. So my integrity to myself is that as since I am on the path as a spiritual teacher, I am actually in devotion to being a forever student. So that's a piece of integrity that I hold for myself. That I am never a teacher and that's it. I've learned all the lessons and I'm sharing and showing the way from this place, this platform that I've made it and I got it all down and figured out. Like for me, that's just not how things work in this world. There is an endless journey of growth and learning and lessons, and no matter how healed or whole or holy or knowledgeable or experienced or masterful we may be, there is always ever more lessons to be learned, and that is the path of being a human and being humble in the face of spirit, which is the infinite. Spirituality is for me, it's a conversation with the unknown. It's a conversation with the consciousness of all, a force that is beyond me, beyond all of us. It is intelligent and it is mm, kind of all knowing. I mean, I don't know, like we can ascribe the characteristics we want to spirit, but it is about this relationship with something that is greater than us, bigger than us, being humbled in the face of the divine. How did I get on this topic? I don't know, but I'm letting myself ramble a little bit. The point is that I want to use this platform to have a conversation here, first and foremost for myself, but secondly for anyone who is interested in my journey as the love priestess, who feels nourished, who feels nourished by these topics I'm bringing forward, who feels resonant with the truth that I am living and giving expression to. I am by no means claiming that I know that I figured out the truth and I know the truth and everyone listen to me. Like that's not the truth. Ultimately, everyone has their own truth, and to give place to our own truth first and foremost is the path of healing and wholeness. So I'm on this path and I want to share it for anyone else who is also on this path and resonating with these topics I'm bringing forward. This is for you. And if it's not for everybody, so if it's not for you, please tune out, X out of here. Like I'm by no means preaching to someone who doesn't agree with the things that I'm saying, and everything that I'm saying I am intending to share from very lived and felt personal experience, right? Not things that I believe to be true but haven't actually embodied in my own life. I'm really striving to be an authentic example of embodiment, which is basically the integration. For me, it means the integration of my higher self, my soul aspect, which is connected to the divine, connected. It's an aspect of God, right? That has basically been fractalized into this human realm that we are all experiencing. So we all have a higher self and a soul aspect. That is why we're even able to be alive in this body right now. But we are not only spiritual beings, we are also humans. And that includes the whole spectrum of human experiences. It doesn't matter how evolved or healed we are, we still have the privilege of experiencing the whole spectrum of the human experience. And that gets to be integrated with our spiritual self through the inner work, through the inner listening, through the coming home to ourself within our body, by really listening to the subtleties of what we feel, to listening to our inner wisdom, really learning the inner workings of our being that can become the guide and the compass for us to live a life that is nourishing and holy and fulfilling and sacred. Hey, babe. I'm YouTubing. Good. Yeah. Yeah, just a few minutes. So, what I wanted to come on here and share today is a little piece of my transformative journey that I've been integrating in a much deeper way, which means I've been in the practice for several years now of really slowing down, of trying to live from my feminine, of deprogramming all of the ways that the masculine has been driving my life. Which means, like, for me, living from the masculine means being very goal oriented, always striving and seeking for some outcome or arrival that is outside of me. So being very goal oriented, being success being really defined by things like that can be like numbers or titles, right? Like, oh, I'm only successful when I make this much money, or I'm only successful when I have this job title or get that promotion, right? For me, this is how the masculine manifested in my life. Also, this like kind of state of hyper arousal, meaning like always needing to work towards something, this feeling of like I'm not worthy of living or receiving the joys of life or receiving the love that I am as a being. Like I'm not worthy unless I am being productive. So this is how I also associate the masculine as it was working through me. So for the last several years, I've been really in a deep exploration of unwinding these programs and habits so that kept me coming from the masculine and really learning to listen to the feminine side of me, which means like coming more from this, like tapping in more to this core sense of who am I, what do I want, what really nourishes me, and like how do I define success from a feeling rather than from a story, right? Like being more, living more from the inside out, orienting myself to life from who am I really, what are my wants, needs, and desires rather than from the outside in. So yeah, coming home to myself and like having to recognize all the ways I've been self-abandoning my whole life because I didn't actually know what I truly wanted or needed. I only knew what I thought I wanted or needed. You know what I mean? There's a difference there between what we think and what we truly feel is true for us. And I like to say that the mind yells, but the heart whispers. So we have to really quiet the mind in order to hear the subtleties of our true essence and true being. So yeah, that means in order to quiet the mind really means slowing down. So I've been in this process of slowing down and trying to reorient myself towards life and from where I'm coming from in my work and in my will to create and to succeed and to be successful, right? Letting these things be driven from the values that I've decided is like true for me, rather than the values that I've like inherited from my family or from society. Like actually, truly, what are the things that feel the most nourishing for me in how they, you know, drive me to align myself with certain goals or people or places and things, right? Like what are the true core principles that feel good for me? So yeah, even though I've been in this practice of coming from the feminine for many years, recently I've really felt the expansion of opening up into something new from really slowing down. And that means like I've been really slowing down and taking care of myself in a much different way, a different pace, a different rhythm, which has brought me to pay attention more to the small things like taking care of my home and and really being intentional about who I'm spending time with and when, like rather than being caught in the need to be connected to everyone and be a part of my community and go to the social gatherings that kept me like kind of in this fast pace of needing to keep up. I've been like letting go of a lot of that and being super intentional, um, and like needing interfacing with actually less people in my life, which is giving me much more space to really feel myself, to really enjoy cooking meals for myself or with my partner, or like enjoying the process of tidying up my home instead of letting it feel like some heavy annoying burden that's like in the way of me actually doing the creative work I want to do. Like how do I see taking care of the home as part of the creative process that is nourishing me, nourishing my being, nourishing my soul, so that I can come through and express myself in a way that feels really confident and clear because I'm taking care of the ground, the nest, right? So that's like been a huge shift. And what I've been experiencing in my business, holy wow, I've been having quantum leaps and expansion in the way I'm able to show up for my business. These goals I've been holding for myself for a long time that I was like, why do I still feel so far away? Because all of this doing from the expectations that I held on myself to to be somewhere that I'm not, this pressure was actually keeping me farther away from where I wanted to go because it kept me in this state of needing to do, when now what I've been noticing is when I'm slowing down and really able to see, like slowing down and stepping back, I'm able to like receive the guidance and see the steps forward that are actually bringing me closer to my goal. Like working smarter rather than working harder. And I've just signed like the biggest client that I've had yet, which has totally shifted my feeling of abundance, meaning like because I have this high paying client, it's shifting the way that I'm feeling about my business and where I can direct my creative energy because the base of what I need is covered. I no longer have to like worry about making enough money so that I can then create. I'm just like, okay, great, I'm covered. Now what can I create and how can I do it from a place that feels joyful and excited because my base needs are being met, right? Like this kind of shift of raising my price and like proposing it to the ideal client that landed, and it was a yes because it was aligned for me. That could only come because I was really slowing down rather than being in the rat race of what I need to do and what I need to keep up with, right? Like it's just mind blowing. So this is like a feminine practice of slowing down that I'm experiencing in my life, like this deeper embodiment of really what does it mean to live from the feminine and how I can experience exponential growth and actually even greater sense of fulfillment and success than I was doing previously, even though I was still from the feminine, because I was still letting my core desires and values drive me. There was still this like kind of wounded masculine, let's say, really deep seated habit of needing to constantly work, to constantly be productive in order to be worthy of the life that I want, which was actually keeping me farther away. Like this stuff is mind blowing. Working from the feminine is truly a quantum level shift that it has a much different rhythm and pace than the masculine, and it requires a slowing down, a softening, and actually creating the spaciousness for us to hear the intuition and then act in alignment rather than from fear and pressure. Expanding, opening, allowing, acting on the clear, aligned guidance. So this is a little piece I wanted to share today because I'm so excited and I want to be showing up here every Sunday, going live, sharing a little piece of my life as the love priestess. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to hear in the comments how this has resonated from you, if it's been sparking any like shifts within you and the way you're operating your life. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So stay tuned and see you next Sunday.